Shalom, blessings, warriors of Yahuwah and the truth. I am going to be continuing on with our lessons from the CEPHER. We are in 2nd Ezdras, and it's 2nd Ezdras 6. If you have the CEPHER, you can follow along. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the expanse were named, or ever the chimneys in Zion were hot, and ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith, Amunah, for a treasure. The chosen ones having so much faith in Yahuwah, and that we treasure it. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that follows? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Yitzchak, when Yaakov and Esau were born of him, Yaakov's hand first held the heel of Esau. We read about this in the BYMV as well. For Esau is in the end of the world, and Yaakov is the beginning of it that follows. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question. Ezra, ask you not. I answered then and said, O Yahuwah Adoni, if I have found favor in your sight, I beseech you, show your servant the end of your tokens, whereof you showed me part the last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon your feet, and hear a mighty sounding voice. And it shall be as it were a great motion, but the place where you stand shall not be moved. And therefore when it speaks, be not afraid, for the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembles, and it moved, and is moved, for it knows that the end of these things must be changed. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood up upon my feet, and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spoke, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh, and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. And when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The seraphim shall be opened before the expanse, and they shall see all together. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the shofar shall give a sound, which when every man hears, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remains from all these that I have told you shall escape, and see my Yeshua and the end of your world. Yeshua means salvation. And the end of your world. And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. And the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed, and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, or emunah, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And when he talked with me, behold, I looked by little and little upon him before whom I stood. And these words said he unto me, I am come to show you the time of the night to come. If you will pray yet more, and fast 7 days again, I shall tell you greater things by day than I have heard. For your voice is heard over El Elyon, for all has seen your righteous dealings. He has seen also your chastity, which you have had ever since your youth. And therefore has he sent me to show you all these things, and to say unto you, be of good comfort, and fear not. And hasten not with the times that are past, to think vain things, that you may not hasten from the latter times. And it came to pass after this, that I wept again, and fasted 7 days in like manner, that I might fulfill the 3 weeks which he told me. And in the 8th night was my heart vexed within me again, and I began to speak before El Elyon. For my ruach was greatly set on fire, and my soul was in distress. They have a number next to ruach, and it says wind, by resemblance breath, a sensible or violent exhalation. That's what it means here. But I believe they put it wrong, because ruach is the indwelling spirit of Yahusha. Okay. And I said, O Yahuwah, you spoke from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and said of the creation, and said thus, let Shamayim and Eretz, or heaven and earth, be made. And your word was a perfect work. And then was the ruach, and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. Then commanded you a fair light to come forth of your treasures, that your work might appear. Upon the 2nd day you made the ruach of the expanse, and commanded it to part asunder, and to make a division betwixt the waters, that the one part might go up, and the other remain beneath. Upon the 3rd day you did command that the waters should be gathered in the 7th part of the earth, or the Eretz. 6 parts have you dried up and kept them, to the intent that of these some being planted of Elohim and tilled might serve you. For as soon as your word went forth, the work was made. For immediately there was great and innumerable fruit, and many and diverse pleasures for the taste, and flowers of unchangeable color, and odors of wonderful smell. And this was done the 3rd day. Upon the 4th day you commanded that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order, and gave them a charge to do service unto man, that was to be made. Upon the 5th day you said unto the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fish, and so it came to pass. I'm just going to stop myself for a minute here. This vision that was given to this, that was given unto him, this vision sounds like they're explaining just what's in the BYNV about the creation of the Eretz and the heavens. Just the creation of the Eretz is being explained in this part. I apologize. Okay. Fowls and fish, and so it came to pass. For the dumb water and without life brought forth living things of the commandment of Elohim, that all people might praise your wondrous works. Then did you ordain 2 living creatures, the one you called Behemoth, and the other Leviathan, and did separate the one from the other, for the 7th part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. Unto Behemoth you gave one part, which was dried up the third day, that he should dwell in the same part wherein are 1,000 hills. But unto Leviathan you gave the seventh part, namely the moist, and kept him to be devoured, of whom you will and when. Upon the sixth day you gave commandment unto the earth, that before you it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these Adam also, whom you made Adoni of all your creatures, master of all the creatures. Of him come we all, and the people whom you have chosen. All this have I spoken before you, O Yahuwah, because you made the world for our sakes. As for the other nations which also come of Adam, you have said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and have likened the abundance of them unto the drop that falls from a vessel. And now, O Yahuwah, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be Adonim over us, masters over us, and to devour us. But we your people, whom you have called your firstborn, your Yachid, beloved son, that means, and your fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Okay, I hope you guys learned some new information from this lesson. The last lesson we did, there was another vision about, I think it was about the creation of the heavens, or the Shamayim. But I love you all. Baruch haba Hashem Yahuwah. Shalom.